But at what point for you did your use behavior went beyond you trying to experiment?
You wake up, you're hungover, you drink some more in the name of let's clear this hunger. You drink some more, you smoke some more. I mean, if I was going to sleep and there was no secret one, so that's when I wake up in the morning, I can find it. Then I will go and look for how to buy it. It was so bad that the man who was selling on my street stopped selling because I stopped smoking. You know how young people want to be older? Then when you're older, you want to be younger.
Yes.
So we wanted to be older so quickly, and then you just take it and just start experimenting and stuff like that. That was how it started. One day, someone saw me and reported me to my sister, and I lied and said it was not me. It wasn't me. I don't know who they saw, but of course it was me because I greeted the person. I have taken somebody to the baby.
With the child, you already have that framework.
I didn't have it, but I didn't know how to separate her from a 5-week-old. So I said, regardless.
She had a 5-week-old.
Yes.
She had substance.
In fact, she had injected the 5-week-old because the child was making so much noise that she was saying, just keep quiet.
Tega Omogor is the executive director of Flourish Life Center, where she works with women and girls affected by addiction, trauma, and mental health challenges. On this episode of Beyond Addiction podcast, she explores the unique realities of women living with addiction and the long, often overlooked journey of healing and recovery. Welcome once again to Beyond Addiction, the podcast where we start with a smile and then we delve into some pretty dire and serious things. But we do it with a smile because there's hope at the end of the tunnel. And I mean that in more ways than one, because as always, I'm with my co-host, Dr. Omeiza, literally. And today we want to talk about something serious. Perhaps what we might call the unseen side of addiction. We've been talking about it for quite some time now. But it's time to focus on women and addiction and the long road back to themselves. And today we have a very special guest who perhaps is the best fit for this. She's the executive director of Flourish Life Center. I'm talking about Tega Omogor. She joins us now to do justice to this, tell us her story, and tell us what it is about women and the intersection with addiction. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. So if you don't mind, if you could tell us some of your story. For those who don't know, you have, other than being a professional now who is helping people and women specifically on their path to recovery, you have lived experience with addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about that time? And,
Sorry.
Yes. Because some persons would say you made it to the other side. Or the doctor who tells us that it's a lifelong journey. But that being the case, helping people should count for something. So can you tell us about that time, what may have been a dark period? Now you go here.
So, thank you, Doctor. Thank you for asking me. So you know that addiction is a symptom of a deeper problem, right? So many times a lot of people think that it's a moral feeling. Sorry, I'm going to coffee beat the hell. It's very cold. So some people think it's a moral feeling. However, it isn't. It may start out as a moral feeling, but along the way it has become a brain disease that you cannot do anything about. And like a chronic illness, like diabetes or high blood pressure, is something that has to be managed. And they say you are in recovery for the rest of your life. If I had known, you see that time when they were telling me try this thing, I wouldn't have tried it. Because being in recovery for the rest of your life is stressful. However, it is conscious living. When I was younger, so my mom left Nigeria about when I was 5. I'm the youngest of 8, and last born matter. We know those things, and they had me. I mean, if I'm the youngest of 8, my older sister had got married just a few years after I was born. So you can imagine the gap as well. I am a child of old age, and most parents, when they've done the beginning, the last few, the firstborn, the trainer. And I always say that there is something that is only the mother of a child that can see. Not because that woman is not a mother, because my older sister is my mother, literally. However, there is something that your eyes are trained to see when you are a mother of a child. It's not because, and many times people attack me and say, why are you always talking to women? Well, take it or leave it. Women have a sixth sense when it comes to some things. There are times when you just feel unease and you just, the first thing you're thinking of is my child okay? Or is my husband okay? There's just something that we always just know. But well, some people think that I'm over flogging why a woman should be the one that's, the woman is a natural nurturer. My mom wasn't around at the time. My sister was just navigating marriage, a young marriage. She was not trained to see me. She was just, trying to understand where she was. And then she was dealing with her own life. And so she parented me the way she knew how to parent. However, I thought at the time that parenting was a bit too much for me. Because, being a last child, I was overly pampered with 5 brothers, 5 bodyguards. Then I now went from being a last born to being a firstborn. It was a shock. And so my sister thought I was quite spoiled. And she used to just slap me to reset my brain. And that slap was not I didn't take it well because I just felt like it was wickedness. Now I understand that she was trying to shape me. But at the time, I thought it was pure wickedness. I just thought, why are you always hitting me? And so when I got into boarding school, I felt like boarding school was freedom. Nobody was checking on me.
To an escape.
Come on now. Nobody's checking you. Nobody's saying to, even if you were waking up at 5 a.m. and all of that, there was a limit to the checking. And so I just was happy that, I was free. And now this is me that was the best student in my state when I wrote common entrance, number 3 in the whole of Nigeria at the time. And I got into school on a scholarship. But when I got into SS1, so I really used to come first in primary school and all those things. So by the time I got to the secondary school, while nobody was necessarily paying attention to my grades anymore, they just were sure that, well, it's first again. But it wasn't first anymore. And we had come to 10th, we had come to 12th. I remember that 10th so well. We had started declining in grades, but nobody was paying attention. But when it came to promotional exams, I'll pass. So they were not paying attention. All my siblings were living their lives. My mom was in the UK. My dad was in the house with his sons. So there was no eye per se. There were eyes on some things, but I will come home and a child knows how to pretend when they need to pretend. And so I'll come home and not pretend. So by the time I was now coming out of secondary school, I came out with 4 P's and 4 F's. Imagine getting 591 out of 600 to get into school, then coming out with 4 P's and 4 F's. But I had come to the north to stay with my other sister. And so my sister more or less felt she was protecting me from going back to Lagos. Because if I had gone back to Lagos, now my sister that used to beat me, and I failed, she would have beaten the life out of me. So I wanted to avoid that. And so I stayed back in the north. And I met some friends. It's in the meeting of the friends. I am a social person. Unless I don't want to be friends with you, you can escape me. Even security man for my estate now, my guy. I can be friends with anybody and everybody. And so I have a social side and I have an academic side. I'm street smart and book smart. And then I didn't know how to balance it. So by the time I got into the north, the friends I met in the north included me in everything but the substance use. And I did not want to be excluded because I felt like if they're excluding me, that means they're rejecting me. Meanwhile, as a child, I felt rejected by my mother when she left the country. I mean, she went for greener pastures. The drama didn't start today. So that's what it was.
I see the connection. Right?
It was personal pressure. I put myself because I felt I wanted to be accepted by people and friends, and that's how I got in. And unfortunately, in the beginning, when my friends were telling me, when they're smoking, I'll be like, this thing is not good for your health. This smoking and drinking is bad for you. Unfortunately, when I took on the smoking and the drinking, I now passed them. So you build tolerance and then you start looking for other things to get into. And that's how I started a 13-year substance use drug abuse.
How old were you when it started?
Honestly, 17, 18.
Wow.
And then I did it for 13 years till about 30, 31. My 20s are a blur. I say every 21st blur. No, not every 21st blur. My 20s were a complete blur because I was a party girl. I was a club hopper. Every club in Abuja at the time, I'll be there that weekend. I was a girl that the DJ would tell me, come on your leg, I hold on my wire for money. So it came with all sorts of things. So yeah, that's how my life went.
But if I could ask, when you were telling the story of the 5 Ps and the Fs, I thought at that point it had started. So you mean, is that what, added to pushing you there?
That was just experimentation. And those are the stages of addiction, of course. I mean, I was experimenting. I had a friend who had relatives who were in the university by my secondary school, and then we'll go out of school. One day, someone saw me and reported me to my sister, and I lied and said it was not me. It wasn't me. I don't know who they saw, but of course it was me because I greeted the person. The person greeted me to be sure, so they knew it was me. So my sister basically lied part of me. But by that time, I was already experimenting. Someone would smoke the cigarettes and drop the butt. Somebody wrote this. Someone would smoke some marijuana and drop the whatever. I don't want to call the names. I mean,
we do want to hear the names actually. Oh, you were talking
about call it filler. That's the last bit, the butt. You drop it, somebody will pick it up and smoke it. Because we're already thinking like, we're young. And then you're seeing older people doing it. You know how young people want to be older. Then when you're older, you want to be younger. Yes. So we wanted to be older so quickly. And then you just take it and just start experimenting and stuff like that. That was how it started. But it wasn't then it became social use. It wasn't anything major. But by the time I now had gone in trying to get into uni, I wrote my exams again, I passed, and I was going to get into uni, is when I knew that, I mean, I have just said it before, so why are you not trying to exclude me from this thing? I better go put something, Joe, and that's how I got it. 13 years.
Well, dear Tega, I somehow, we've met for over a decade now.
Yeah.
And I see the consistency with what you do. In fact, sometimes one would think that your stories are not true. I mean, how will a beautiful woman like you say that, you're in and out of this, you've gone through life at this level.
Yeah.
But that tells too many stories of other young women, etc., who are suffering addiction in the dark. Right. So, but you have said something that, is striking, that drug addiction isn't a moral failing.
That's all.
Right, but you also said that it may at the beginning, which means to say that voluntarily people may begin to experiment.
Absolutely.
Right, but at what point for you did your use behavior went beyond you trying to experiment? Did you have something to say about that? Like, how was your daily living like at the point it became
full-blown addiction?
Something that you couldn't control anymore.
So I lived in Wuse too, in Abuja, in my early 20s. I lived with my sister. I mean, she had a baby. She waited for 14 years to have a second child. So as soon as she had the child, I relocated to Abuja. No, that would have been before then. We had a house in Kano where my friends and I used to hang out. That house, there was no father, there was no mother. And all of us were always high. At that time, so there was a riot that happened in Kano at the time. And so we were stuck at home. Everybody could move. That's when I knew I was addicted.
Okay, so at that time, were you with ladies or with guys too?
Guys and girls.
So they were girls. They were not just you, Tega.
Only girl.
Okay.
There were guys and girls. We started from Zaria. We started from school. It was, how uni is, where you just feel like you're free. Nobody's calling you to come and go to class. If you like, don't get up and go. It is at the end of the semester you will know. So that's where I started from. I lived in a compound where there were about 33 girls, 30 or 30 of us, 30 to 33 of us in a compound. It was like an off-campus hostel. So there were many of them that used to go to classroom. They had sense. They would go to school.
Even while having a substance abuse problem?
Well, sometimes many people are social users, right? And they're functional. So they will use... In the morning, they had to be in the correct, they will go. There were some of us that didn't understand that our biological makeup will not allow us be like those people. And instead of us to have sense, it's like how they call it cure now. This when they said that they eat by the hair of the dog that beat you. So when you wake up, you're hungover, you drink some more. In the name of let's clear this hunger. You drink some more. You smoke some more. I mean, if I was going to sleep and there was no secret one, so that's when I wake up in the morning, I can find it. Then I will go and look for how to buy it. It was so bad that the man who was selling on my street stopped selling because I stopped smoking. So I would say that this happened from Zaria. Actually, it was from school. It was from when I realized that we wanted to continue to live like that. It could have been like it was fun. But by the time we now got back home, maybe like when I was I moved back home, and then they had that riot. I realized that I couldn't stay still. I needed to get out of the house to one.
You were cut off from your supplies. Is that what you were trying to say?
Because I was up. So I needed to get. That's when I knew that.
So one key thing I'm getting from this is you weren't doing alone. You were doing with a group of other women, other young girls at the time.
Yes.
Right. You had said that you people didn't have sense, in quotes, at that time to know that this is not for you.
Yeah.
Right. You
especially me.
Yeah, because there were people who were still able to use and even go functioning.
Absolutely.
You said something again before that, it's so tough and very uneasy to lead a recovery all your life. If you were told, you wouldn't probably have started. Now, we'll go back to that biological makeup you had mentioned, because that seemed to be different for people who use and they're able to function, and why some use and not able to function. We're going to discuss that later. But then, what do you have to say again for women who use substances? Why do you think they're using? Because a guy would probably use alone. And so there are social issues that make women hide, stay in confinement or behind closed doors to use in group. Now, and then there are also social issues why men would rather smoke publicly, for instance. You want to say something about that?
So first of all, when it's young people, it's cruise. Everything is cruise with people. It's just having fun. Just want to make noise. It's just you don't want to be seen as a good girl. You don't want to be seen as the one that is that time we used to call it Jew girl. Do you understand? So you just want to do what they say, even when you don't. Sometimes you don't even feel like you do. Sometimes you don't like how you feel, but because you don't want to be laughed at. I remember one particular day, I had a big bottle of Ragolis. It was Swan, I think, and then I put one of these very strong vodkas, 6 to 55%. I filled it and I put a bit of orange juice, and I just shook it, and then I was drinking a full bottle. So that means it was nearly half the bottle of the vodka. And I was drinking it, and they were saying, go take her. It was burning my throat. It was burning my chest.
Because of the go Tega.
People, they hear me. Say, make I drop on me now. You not fall behind of the guys. So I was drinking it. As I bent down to dance and got up, I blacked out. So now, who was I doing that for? For cruise.
That's it.
Many times it's just for the sake of being called her headstrong. Do you understand? It's just unnecessary hype that makes no sense. Because now thinking about it, there's so many things. Unless, let me now say that I decided to not waste my pain. But there are people that wasted their pain.
What do you mean?
So when you go through a thing like that, what you start to feel is maybe, I don't want to talk about it. Let nobody hear that I went through that. And then you go and hide. And then in fact, you start to stigmatize people. Now only for back, you now be telling them, I went through this, so don't do it. But I didn't waste my pain in the sense that I'm going to let you know that I have done this thing. It didn't pay me. Don't do it. I was in a school earlier today talking about drug use before I went back to where I was going before I came here. Now, when I was going to open the facility, all
Flourish Center?
Yes, Flourish Life Center. All female. There were people who have facilities, as in men, that told me, see, even if this will not work, girls don't do rehab. You will not have any clients. In the beginning, I said, okay, but I knew that when I was doing substance, it wasn't just me. It was me. There were maybe like 10 other girls. I didn't go through any rehabilitation. First of all, nobody would pay for my rehabilitation. My family, I was very bitter, come over here. So I knew that there was no way I was going to go to rehab. I went through my withdrawal symptoms by myself. In fact, when I'm talking to the girls at the facility now, when they're saying, oh, I'm having joint aches, I'm having this, I've just looked at them, I say, it's withdrawal symptoms. I say, calm down. I didn't have that. I did it by myself in the house. My friends were massaging at least I had some issue friends. I had to, massaging my joints and everything and helping me through that. So I knew that there are other girls that do this thing. There are many. Statistics say, they say 1 in 4 in the whole country. And now out of this 1 in 4, guess what? 1 in 5 of them is a woman. So that's a good number, enough to say, let us find you help.
Well, I have my reservations towards that statistics, but we'll talk about it later.
I wanted to, because you touched on it already, and I wanted to say that, which is that how important what you are doing is. We're talking about your experience, because we could paint it flowery and say, not God, breeze past it, but going into details. So I read something. I want to confirm if it's your story or if you're talking about someone else. You were trying to talk about how bad the addiction can get, and you mentioned that you were working with your sister or for your sister, and things got so bad that she had to close her business.
Yes.
Because of your addiction.
Yes.
What happened?
So my sister didn't even know that it was my addiction that was. So now there's somewhere in 12 steps where I think it's 8 or 9, where they say you go and make amends. Reconciliation. I had no idea that that's what I was doing when I was asking for forgiveness, because I remember writing her an email. I was working in the travel agency. It was a travel agency. In fact, it was new. But like I said, I'm a people person. I can be friends with anybody. I marketed that thing well. They knew me in KLM, knew me in British Airways, knew me in most of those places. I would go and I was getting clients. But the habit does not allow you, unless you're conscious of what you're doing. There's a saying that until you make your unconscious conscious, it's a role your life and you call it fate, right? At some point, when the stress got to me, because I didn't even understand what my triggers were. My triggers were money. One of my triggers was money.
Having it or not having it?
Not having it, okay.
Having the motives.
And then emotion. So when I'm overly stressed, now I know what to do with my stress when I'm overly stressed. Like today now, as I leave here, I've closed for today. Those girls in the rear will say tomorrow, it's another day. I know my boundaries now. Then I didn't know what they were. So when I was overly stressed from work and I had extra money, it was easy to say, let me just get something to relax my nerves. And the truth is, addiction actually helps you do something. It's you medicating on something to help you do something. So I was using it at the time. Now, it wasn't now just cruise. It was, now I'm working. Now I have money. So I can afford it. High people get other people high. Buy for you and tell you, you don't need money. Take, I go buy for you. Don't just stay together at the catch cruise. But then I didn't need that anymore. I was living by myself. There was nobody checking on me. I could go out and come in at any time. Unfortunately for me, at one time I was not trying to be a good kid. There was one guy I was now dating. Let's just now be good people so that we'll just marry. Fortunately, the guy was not telling me that no, his mother doesn't want a girl from where I'm from. His mother wants from a particular place. That was the lies there. Those
cultural issues.
He was just stringing me and all. Anyway, I was not trying to be a good girl. Then I went and now moved to the travel agency from where I was trying to now be normal, to on top of a lounge. We now know that was also a trigger for me. Indeed. So I would come downstairs and they had some amazing, amazing chicken wings. So I would tell them that, see, I go inside, I just want to buy chicken wings and I'm going home. My dear, I will enter there at 5:05 because I've left the office. I probably won't leave there till 6 a.m.
The next day.
And then I'll go home, take a bath, run back. Travel work. You need to be very focused on what you're doing. Somebody's going to the UK. I'll do British Airways. Go from here to Heathrow. I will rouse you through some kind of people. The way I will rouse
you send people the wrong way.
Not that I'm not taking you to go and land in Dubai. Or you will pass Dubai to go to London.
I hope those your customers are not watching this stuff.
Have mercy, because I was a child, I didn't have sense. So I would reroute you through Dubai, because if you go through a longer route, my commission is more.
Okay. Wow.
So those are the kind of things I was doing. And then if you now find out that, if I can go through BA, why am I going through Emirates? What's going on? You will go to another agent. And at the time, a lot of agencies were springing up. So we're losing customers. That's flash. And it was so bad that it was my brother-in-law and my sister that had it. It could have affected their marriage very easily. As in, see the mess your sister had made But thank God their marriage was strong enough to withstand that kind of thing. The two of them just accepted, didn't care, no care, sense. Just pack your load and be going. And then they shut down the agency. So I was jobless for a while. If that's me, I knew it was my fault. My brother-in-law had when they say they called you and they tell you, your life just flashed in front of you. They talked them and talked to me that day. When I was going home, I was trying to find my feet on the ground because it cost me well. But I still didn't have strength afterwards. That plunged me deeper because I now didn't have a job. I was now depressed. Things were not going well. My life just went south.
This question may be uncomfortable. Feel free to answer as best or deep as you want. But I think one of the issues with addiction for women is there's a perceived vulnerability there that people are going to take advantage of them. And I'm just wondering, in all of this, did you escape unscathed? Because now you don't have a job.
Many.
You still have,
many. I just believe that God was just kind to me. I'm a person of faith. I will not take away anything from God, really. I just believe that God was kind to me because for such a time as this, for the people who... so yesterday we're having a session in the house, a group session, and I have 6 girls at the moment. And one of them said to me that I'm super grateful for you because I've been to 4 rehabs. I don't know how, in fact, I'm a lost case. However, when I see you and you say you've been sober for 15 years, that means it's possible. If that's the only reason God kept me, then I'm okay. I will tell the story everywhere. That means somebody can look at you and say, you give me hope.
That's moving, actually. And it also shows that, because when I was, reading about you, I saw specifically group therapy for women.
Yeah.
So I keep wondering, is there a specific way you think women suffer more or need more help? Can't they just, like you said, the person who has gone through multiple therapies has finally found a place. What's different about a women-focused approach that makes it easier or better for them than a general one?
I will say general ones have been working since forever.
Okay.
Really, many of them have been working. Was they'll have a female hostel and have the male hostel, right? So I think that the thing that would make it different for me is because I'm someone who wants to walk down that path. So when you want to come and give me a ball and tell me, oh, this was going on, like, hello, been there, done that, get up. So there are women focused with gender-specific issues that we deal with. Emotional issues, right? Grief, for instance, family dysfunction, especially when women have trauma. I have seen women, in fact, there is a girl who I met a long time ago. She's passed on now.
She's what?
She's passed on.
Okay.
She relapsed and overdosed. She had been raped from age 5. But when she went to the first rehab, she didn't tell anybody. That girl is one of the reasons I decided that I will open one and to be for the all. She didn't tell anybody. So when we're doing therapy, I was talking to the rehab. They said they didn't hear anything about that. And I looked at her, I'm like, sister, I don't know how to help you if you don't tell them the truth. She said she wasn't sure whether they will understand. So there are female gender-specific issues that only a woman who has been through that might be able to help you. Because I'm going to tell you outright that I have been there. I understand what you're going through. I always say I'm the queen of resilience. There are things that people have been through that have broken them, that have just bent me, and I go back up. Sometimes when people say, oh, I'm going through a lot, I'm like, what happened? They will not tell me. I say, I'm going through this, Okay, so that was a lot. I didn't know that this thing I went through was a lot. Do you understand? So it's not that those ones don't work. They work. But I chose to because I understand how women can get.
So let's move a little bit now to the underreported aspect. Why women are invisible when it comes to this issue. Some numbers suggest that 1 in 4 drug users in Nigeria is a woman. In fact, an MDLA official in Kano State noted that officers on ground actually arrest more female drug abusers than males. but they don't show up in hospital data. Somehow they are disappearing for some reason. So why do you think that there's this underreporting, and what are these cultural circumstances that is limiting or keeping women invisible?
Cultural circumstances. First of all, in Nigeria, women are like a moral compass. In fact, let me say what happened a few days ago. So there was one woman that was driving. You know how you're driving at a junction and you come too forward, and then the person coming from this end cannot enter.
Mm.
And then my husband was saying, look at what this thing you have done now. Does it make sense? I said, I believe her. She's a woman. My husband said, so are women excused from this kind of thing? But what I meant was, when you start to talk, if she starts to talk back at you, they're going to say, look at you, exchanging words with a woman. Or the woman herself will insult you. Yeah. So women are like a moral compass. Sometimes when you see someone doing one way, you say, she's a woman. No. Mm. So people just expect that women, because we are mothers and we're natural nurturers, we are the ones who are supposed to be the one who, they say if you educate a woman, you educate the world. The woman is the one who carries a child. The woman is the one who teaches a child. The woman is the one who, what's the word? You know what I mean? Yeah. We're the ones that are supposed to, the Bible now says, the wise woman builds a house and the foolish one tears it down. Mm. Proverbs 31:1. So the woman has a lot of responsibility.
Yeah. Pressure.
A man will come back from work and decide that he wants to go and watch World Cup with the boys. He'll not come back till midnight. Nobody's going to say, what an irresponsible man. They'll say, now football is distressing. Find a woman that is going to go and watch football at night and she's smoking with the boys. None of those boys hanging with her, we won't think to marry her. Now, they'll call her my guy. She's one of the guys. So women are just naturally known to be prayer warriors, naturally homekeepers. So they expect us to be a certain way. So when a woman is doing substance, you are now like a moral failing. Who is going to put you out there and say, so when people hear me talk about my story and other people that I've seen on social media, what you hear is, you are so brave. You are so brave. You don't know why, but it's a cultural thing.
I mean, aside from this issue, personally, as a journalist, I've gone out for, let's say, workshops way back then, and I would approach men and women to talk. This is not even them having to say something negative, just talk. And one particular experience, a woman and a man. So I approached the woman and she said, see my husband there, go and talk to him. So there's this, but what I would ask is does it now mean the stigma is making women hide themselves?
Yes, it is. A woman is supposed to be seen, not heard. So we are hiding.
So, so while we're talking off camera, and I was wondering, why you would even go into this field. Because other people will say, women will not come out. See, like you're starting a business or an organization where it's dependent on treating women, and women will not come to speak. How do you find them? How does that work, really?
I didn't, in the first 6 months, we're about nearly a year old. 1 month is just okay. So we're just a few months shy of a year. And the first few months, in fact, I was saying I'm going to do a lot of marketing. I couldn't even bother. I just told myself that, look, there's no need. I would talk about the woman and substance use, the woman and rehabilitation. And somehow I didn't even feel the pull to start doing advertisements. I did a few posts. I did a video. But I promise you, I didn't know how to push it out. I don't even know what it was that kept making me reluctant to. Maybe because our space is for 10 per time only. I don't want to do more than 10. Not because per time, I mean. Not because, first of all, space. And then 2, I wanted to be able to have that personal thing. To be able to...
So take care.
Yes. I'm not... It's not because I'm not looking for, the money. In fact, my husband had to ask me, it's like, yeah, I'm allergic to money. Because 3 out of the 6 girls are free. Almost free. In fact, 1 is completely free. Do you understand? And so it almost appears like it's more of passion than a business.
But do you think there's something you're doing that makes it easy for them to open up, to say, I have this issue?
Yes.
Because that's part of why we're talking, to get them to come out and get the help they need.
If I could do it, you can.
Sometimes, I'm tempted to call you Pastor Tega, even though I know you're a man of God.
So,
I see the work you're doing, really. And then I'm very concerned because most people would think this is pain to gain, but it's actually pain to passion.
Yeah.
All right. So I was going to say that it's not business. For Tega, it is pain to passion. It's someone who has been through that road and he feels no other person should get through that road anymore.
Yeah.
Right. But I wish that all our young ladies are able to pass through you so that they won't come through that road that you have gone.
So true.
No, but this is it. Women are not just being stigmatized in our society for using drugs. They are demonized for using drugs.
Absolutely.
I remember doing a little trip, went to some hideouts where young ladies are around Nassau and Nyanya area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about 7 years ago. And they were playing those clips, of course, with their faces covered. And the honorable member at that time said, that's a woman, right? I said, do women do drugs too? So then this was a mother speaking. She was shocked that young women would be found in those kind of places where other men gather to use drugs. As a matter of fact, their number almost balances the number of the men. Right. Now, so which is why I said I have a problem with the statistics. Now, and then even the emotions, the emotional issues that makes men use substances differs from those that make women do substances.
Absolutely.
Right? Now, social issues as well. Okay, the fact that women are said to keep quiet, just like she said, we are seen, not heard. Now, those are not good emotional regulation strategies, even for an individual.
Absolutely.
Okay, so when you have reduced expressions, you now tend to suppress emotions. Somehow, the emotions will find a way to come out. And like you said again, substance use actually helps people get through life. It's a coping strategy. But I've always said, it is not just a coping strategy. It's a bad coping strategy. Unhealthy coping strategy. Right? So if you tell someone who takes alcohol, on the other day on this podcast, a pastor said that he had a challenge at some point in his life. He was already a pastor, doing well in ministry. But because of the challenge, he told his son also, said, I now know why people take alcohol. Right? Now, so that's a man, who went through that phase. Same can happen to a woman, but through different reasons and flows. However, we always think, just as he said again, that women are seen as a moral compass. They are expected to be picture perfect. They are the builder of the home. So a man can have 2-3 girlfriends. He's a big boy. They hail him for doing that. But a woman have 2 boyfriends. He's an ashero.
One, even for her son to love her more than normal, it's a problem.
It's a problem, right? Now, so they are taking that to the stigmatizing for drug use addiction. And I asked a question one time after speaking somewhere. Somebody asked me about stigma. I said, you know what stigma is? For instance, you have a brother who takes alcohol, and drugs, and is having an addiction problem. Would you want him to marry? They said yes. They want him to marry.
I always use this in training.
They said, yeah, they want it. I said, very good. I said, you want it to? I said, yes. And sincerely, in mental health, okay, the prognosis are good when you have a partner who is supportive. Now,
in fact, they think that the woman he will marry is a rehabilitation center for him. When he marry,
exactly. In fact, some families rushing to take the child out of rehab, the son out of rehab, and get him married
immediately.
In fact, one of the reasons why some people are brought to the rehab is let him get well enough, let's package him and let him get married.
Just put him in a suit.
Right? Now, I ask the question to the same person. So, if you have a sister and he brings a man to you,
I just came out of rehab.
I have never made sure they have affair. He said, yes, of course. If she loves the person, let them go ahead. I say, good. Now, if by chance you're speaking somewhere with a a friend, and somebody said, that guy just come off for rehab 2 months ago. What will you say? I'll go back home, inform my family, let's call a meeting again, and be sure that he's no longer using drugs. You see that now. Now, but you were willing and wanted your brother to be married, who is suffering a drug addiction, who is in recovery. But you are not willing to have, right, someone else who is going through recovery come marry your sister. Now, so if you just turn the flip, you realize that we're not sincere with ourselves in talking about this. So this is it. If you are not ready, despite knowing that recovery is a journey for this person, you are not, and you know that this person having a partner will help the person in coping. I'm sure if you let Tega talk, he will tell you how much of support the husband provides for her, right? In going through life, in handling emotions and stress, right? Now, so this is it. If until we are ready, that we won't look at issues that concerns women as though they are not human beings. Tega is going to talk about the biological factors in trauma, because about 90% of women who use substances, they don't just use because they want to be exorbitant. They want to be, they're just being pressured by somebody. We'll talk about that when we get there, right?
So I think I should add another layer to that hypocrisy we should just describe. The people we're talking about were people who don't have a substance abuse problem, who have stigma. You know that, as you hinted before, even a man who has a substance abuse problem will, I once witnessed someone who I know to be a bit of a heavy drinker. He was watching a video and he said, to born women, no problem. And I asked, why? And he showed me a lady who was downing some bottles. And I said, shouldn't you be attracted to? You're both Jesus. I don't know. So, it's like you yourself, you have a substance abuse problem, but you still see yourself as better than a woman who has the same substance abuse problem. And I think that's a different degree of hypocrisy. At least, at the very least, you could be someone who doesn't have. But moving on to the biological aspect now, let's just call out what some of the research says. Research shows that women actually develop addiction much faster than men, even when using smaller amounts of a substance. So is there a reason why women's bodies react so differently? I could even give an instance. Yeah, okay. Dr. can also chime in there. But I can also add a bit of your own quotes. You wrote this. You said, research consistently shows that untreated trauma, childhood abuse, intimate partner violence, rejection, emotional neglect is a major gateway.
Absolutely. So there's something we call ACEs, which is Adverse Childhood Experiences. And it's a questionnaire that helps you know the abuse that each person has undergone from ages 0 to 17. Anything that happened to you before the ages of 18. So whether there was a drug use parent in the house, whether there was emotional pain, whether you've experienced maybe like a life-threatening thing, maybe armed robbery, maybe kidnapping, do you understand? Stuff like that. So if you have it, according to your score, it shows that, you've gone through some childhood experiences and people who have, the higher your score, the more likely you are to do substance because you have gone through something at some point. Now, two people can be in the same environment and two people will experience two different things and two different, imagine that two children, and that's why they call it significant emotional experiences. It may not be significant for me, but it will be significant for you. So yes, that happens with children. Then emotional abuse. You know that what is emotional abuse to me may not be to you, right? Because you might just even look at it like, well, it's the way the person talks. That's how the person is. But there's some people that would hear that and be like, that was a lot for me. Yeah. But women are generally more vulnerable when it comes to emotional abuse and all of this because we are supposed to be softer. Supposed to. Many of us are tough. Many of us are very tough. But we are supposed to. Some of us, we can't help it. When life has thrown things at you, you will toughen up, because if you fall apart every time life throws stuff at you. I mean, even the Bible says that if you fail in the day of adversity, it means your strength is small. In fact, there's one version that says you're a poor specimen. That version they pay me where poor specimen. What happened? Anyway, bottom line is, women are vulnerable when it comes to emotional abuse because we're seen to be the weaker sex or the weaker vessel. So many of us also want to keep up appearances. Many of us we're always in comparison with someone. It's only women that will say, you suffer. You are suffering. Let me tell you what suffer is. Your husband says you should make it by every night. I cook it free. We like to compare suffering. Women are just generally like, I don't even know who did this thing to us.
So is that why you say you need to treat the trauma before you can handle the addiction?
Must deal with the root cause.
Yeah.
Because if you treat the addiction and the person goes back to the trauma and is not dealt with, and the person doesn't know how to manage it, we're right back away with this. I mean, the addiction is a coping mechanism.
That's it.
If you have a physical cut, they can put a band-aid, just pour iodine or spirit or stuff. But when you have emotional pain, who is able to put the band-aid on it?
Okay, can you give us a little example of how that could work? In using your own experience, you mentioned a little bit of the fact that you felt abandoned.
Yes.
So how do you treat such a thing?
So now, a lot of things that you need to let a person know. Let me use one of the girls in the facility, right? I'm sure she won't mind this. So when she came into the facility, there were 5 people there already. All of the 4 people, they had all bonded and paired up and everything. She came in, she knew one of the other girls before, and she just thought that, okay, automatically, me and her we bond, but that one had bonded with somebody else. So she came and she was feeling left out. And then it started becoming a problem. And I started calling her Oloriko Kostrogi. Anywhere she goes, Wahala must be there. So one day we had a one-on-one session. I mean, I'm a trained therapist as well. And then I started asking her about childhood. She's an only child. She was an only child for 10 years before her brother was now born. Then when the brother was born, not long after that, the father died. Then somebody was molesting her at age 12 and telling her that it's only someone who loves you that would do this to you. It was love addiction. In her mind, if you treat me a certain way, that means you love me. But if you don't do this with me, that means you don't. And because of that, she's got into different relationships. In fact, it was so bad. Yesterday, she was telling me, she said, there was one particular guy that told me, I'm not ready to date anybody. When I'm ready, you'll be top on the list. Well, guess what? He was sleeping with her.
Hey.
So she's used to being abandoned.
No.
She felt like she was the only child. She was the princess of the family. Then all of a sudden, he just gave birth to one boy and brought him from there and said, it's your brother. Then her mom died. So she now started feeling like, nobody loves me. I'm supposed to be the princess. Where did all the princess vibes go? And then she was looking for a princess everywhere. Unfortunately, her father is also a pastor. I have said that we're going to open a rehab for pastors' children. Because, no, seriously, it's not because pastors are bad. I know it's you. But all of them that I have come in contact with in therapy, every single time, what they say is, my father and mother are taking care of everybody, but they forget us. So she felt abandoned by her father. And her mother had died. Then they brought one boy from somewhere. Instead of her to look at it like, okay, we don't have a mother anymore. Let me take care of my brother so that now there's 2 of us. She just, princess vibes. No, I can't take this. And guess what? She's been looking for that love every single place. That's how she got into substance use. So now the trauma is grief. Her mom passed. Grief of having her father alive and him not even, giving her princess vibes. He's the pastor of a congregation. Then she has her own issues where she's feeling like she's abandoned. Until you come to the terms where you realize that you are enough. You, by yourself, you are okay. Even if the world does not validate you, you are fine. Everybody does not like ice cream. So nobody, is not the whole world that is going to like you. So when you start expecting that everybody is going to love you, you're setting yourself up for disappointments. And that is a problem in itself. I was like that. If you made me feel like you didn't really like me, I'll be like, have I done wrong? I'll start trying to work it out in my head. My guy, the day I realized that even jollof rice, party jollof rice, not everybody likes. I just told myself, I beg be free. It's freedom. It's exhilarating, knowing that you don't like everybody. Why should everybody like you? You are enough. So it takes therapy. It takes re-engineering, recalibration, more or less, in the mind. It is a mind shift. Because even your own siblings, some of them will not like you. They love you because you are blood. They may not like you as a person. It takes a lot of mental shift, mental recalibration for a person like that. That's why we always say, if you are going to do therapy, it can't be less than 3 months. Because it's every day. We are renewing your mind day by day, day by day. Even the Bible talks about the renewal of the mind. So we're going to keep renewing your mind. This is where you were. Who is the old Tega? Who does the new Tega want to be? How do we get to where the new Tega is going to? You are the one that is answering me because you know you more than I know you. My work is just to guide you to get to where you're going to.
Yeah, Pastor Tega, I am very concerned about the matter of addiction, especially with young women, and of course women generally. It's not just women who are young that abuse substances or addicted to substances. And before talking about even the biological issues, men are not the only one who can have accidents. Women have accidents and they are prescribed pain relief medications that they can become hooked. We also have women who are sickle cell individuals, and then they have to manage their painful crisis and they become addicted to those substances, right? Now, socially too, there are many reasons why. For instance, you've talked about your girls in your home, the Flourish Center, Life Center. I have this young lady, who wanted to marry a young man from another part of the country. And the mother feels, no, you are my only daughter. You have to be in this way. You have to marry somebody from this part of the country, not that part of the country. And that was the person she sincerely loved, the person the parent denied her. Right? Now, this person growing up again couldn't even speak to her mother about her body changes because the mother knew little or nothing about the young girl's body changes. Do you understand now? Now, so how do you blame or demonize that kind of person? Or these persons I have mentioned their scenarios. Someone who is suffering sickle cell, a woman suffering sickle cell disease, a woman who had done an accident or had a CS. Some women after a certain section, because of the pain and how they were managed, they become hooked upon a particular substance. You see that now? Now, so do you demonize a woman? Do you say don't speak? Okay, so now a lot about emotions are reasons why many people, not just women now, get substance. And like Dr. Tega said, it's not just killing the problem from the stem. You go to the root, right? And I keep saying that every time people ask us, what are the causes of addiction? No, the causes are not peer pressure alone, because there are 10 people who were exposed to the same pressure that didn't use the substance. So there must be something wrong about this person or that made the person use the substance, right? The person probably doesn't have coping skills or the right coping skills to manage those situations, circumstances, or stress that life handed to the person, right? Now, so these are the issues that we must begin to look at. We must begin to look at educating mothers. We must begin to look at educating the young people even before they get there, catch them young, right? With the right psychological skills, life skills, for survival, emotional skills, emotional intelligence, right? How to manage situations, how to be self-confident, how to communicate, self-identity, and what have you. These are areas that would help these young people build resilience towards the arrows of substance use that people would throw at them. Now, I was talking to someone within the weekend, and I said, there are people who have this capacity as a trait. Because he said, Shibi, I saw all these things. I didn't use them. From as a young child, I decided what I wanted. I said, that's good for you. You were born that way. You had that trait. You probably inherited from somewhere. There's a gene, perhaps, responsible for all of these things. So you inherited that from somewhere that you can just walk into a room and decide to do a particular behavior or not to indulge, right? But there are people that they will have to learn it because they didn't come with it.
Absolutely.
So which is where the duty of therapists like Dr. Tega comes in, to ensure that young people are equipped with these skills that will help them to be resilient. So if you're watching, the fact that you're able to see a particular substance and not use does not make the person who see that substance and use a devil. Right? So that is one I want to clear on social issues and the rest. Now, biologically, when I think about this, I always feel pity for women. I feel pity, because for instance, everything about them is affected by the monthly cycle. You see this monthly cycle women just go through, think it's just a normal thing. It's a lot. And especially when you want to sync it or link it with drug use behaviors. For instance, the menstrual cycle has 2 phases. Medically, you have the follicular phase and the luteal phase. Now, from the day a woman sees her period, some people don't even know how to calculate their period itself. From the day a woman sees her period is your day 1. Now, that day 1, right, a particular hormone called estrogen will begin to increase in the value, in the amount in the woman's body. So it starts increasing and it peaks up to the time of ovulation, about day 14 for those who have regular cycle within 28 days, right? Now, so half of the cycle, a hormone is peaking, right, to day 14 where the woman ovulates. Now, this hormone estrogen is responsible to accentuate the release of dopamine in the brain. I mean, of course, we know dopamine, the popular feel-good hormone, right? So the hormone that makes you feel, I'm happy, I'm high, I'm in the high. Now, so apart from the drug acting on the centers in the brain to make dopamine release to be increased and then make them available at the receptor site or even make their destruction or excretion, reduced. So there will be more dopamine. When the brain should take them out, it's not taking them out because some of the drugs are blocking the excretion or the release of those dopamine from your brain. So because if dopamine comes in here, there's a particular number of times you stay, maybe minutes or seconds. But the drug will block where it should pass and leave. So it will keep giving the effect.
So the high is more.
The high is more, right? Now, so what happened with the woman who has estrogen peaked to us from day 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 is that estrogen further accentuates this effect. So not only is it dealing with the highness from the drug itself, but estrogen is increasing, accentuating the effect of dopamine, making it stay longer, making the brain produce more. You see that now? So the person feels high or higher, if they say what like that, than a male counterpart that's using the same substance or even lesser dose of the substance. Now, okay, the next phase, called the luteal phase. There's now the body's preparing to break down whatever is being built at the follicular phase. One hormone called progesterone.
To show up.
It will start coming up again. So at this point, the estrogen is beginning to reduce. Now, you will now think that the woman is beginning to have some respite. But towards the time the period will come out, which is what they see as the blood flow now, the progesterone will also peak. This progesterone causes depression, anxiety. And with women, that's why you see a woman be like, what's up? My period's about to come.
Yeah.
Is it progesterone? That low mood, women start feeling. They just start having they call it blues. They just say, start feeling low. Is it progesterone? Mood swing. It's progesterone. So what happened is that this progesterone now causing those low moods. The person will be like, what do I need? I need to take something to increase my mood now. Yeah. He's anxious. She's anxious. There's increased anxiety, there's anxiousness, there's depression, low moods and the rest. And she wants to cope with what she's feeling. God save her if it's that time one boy called and said, sorry, I think we should take a break. Or if it's that time she mistakenly checked the boyfriend's phone and saw a chat coming in. Now, you see, she's going to likely relapse. So even for those dealing in recovery, relapse are higher in that phase too, where the progesterone is at the peak. So do you see that all the odds, biologically, hormonally, are even against the woman?
Then the only alcohol is perimenopause.
You understand? These are the issues, right? So you see, it's just against the woman. So which is why when I think about this, and of course, telescoping, as you said, is shorter for women, right? So need intervention from drug use behavior than for men. The time a woman starts using to when she needs she will need intervention to stop is shorter compared to men. That time is called telescoping, right? Why is it so? For these obvious reasons.
Right.
For social reasons, they are being demonized, so they won't even come out to talk about it. Now, in treatment centers too, thank God, if it was a male rehab center, Dr. Tega is running, you'll probably be having 10, 20 patients by now, and they may all be paying because families will be willing to pay. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, but you see, so we have the female representation in treatment centers are low compared to the 1 in 4 we're talking about. So if it's 1 in 4, it means a facility like mine that have male and female. If I have 30 male patients, then we should have, say, maybe 8 or 7 female. But that's not true. You can have 30 patients and just maybe 1 female or no female at all. You understand now? So it means that we need to begin to look at policy, therefore, Dr. Tega. Now, what can the NDLA do? What can the government do? Maybe the Ministry of Health. What kind of interventions are we rolling out? And how can we create a caveat that focuses on women to at least increase the uptake of women into treatment facilities like yours, the Flourish Wellness Center, that can help people like you bring in more women into treatment, right? To assist. What are the gaps do you think that policies can begin to speak to?
So I think, first of all, stigma is a big problem already. I went to speak in one school. There was a guy sitting next to me, and we're having a very serious conversation. And then they told me it was my turn to come and speak about the drug use, and I went and I talked about my story and everything. When I came back, the guy shifted. I said, "Sir, don't worry, it's not contagious." Calm down. So stigma is an issue. People will still not want to. But what I know is that when we have more people come out and tell their stories of hope and how they are getting better and how they went through treatments and they actually got better and they got value for what they went in there for, it will begin to open the conversation much more. It will open the conversation much more. For now, when a girl is doing substance, they're thinking of how to marry her off or send her abroad. Just go far away. Let nobody even know. Somebody called me and said, "I want to leave my daughter with you for 2 years. I mean, pay you upfront." And I started laughing. I said, "Abba, it's not that deep. She's not something that's not garbage now." Do you understand? However, I believe that if we start having those conversations around the fact that reducing the stigma and then knowing that they can actually get the help that they want when it's not another thing that we do in Nigeria is over spiritualized stuff. It's a big problem.
You like mysteries. We just say, it's the devil.
No, one woman actually told me, it's in a miri. It's in a Obanje, they do. And I said, okay. So what we can't explain, spiritualize.
Make it spiritual.
So, if we start having those conversations more, and I'm guilty of that actually, because sometimes I'm telling myself that I am going to have these conversations. If you see when we're talking, I wrote educating mothers here, and we're going to have these conversations. I have tried. There is something called mother wounds. A lot of mothers wound their daughters, and then those mother wounds, these children carry it, and then they start doing substance. And there are too many things that we have to deal with. Father wounds, mother wounds. There are people who have had issues with maybe like a spiritual leader or a male mentor. Do you understand? So if these conversations are being held, and then we see that there are success stories, it will be easier for them to deal with. It is not a boy's vice. It's not a male
boys only vice.
Yes, it's not a male vice. I mean, look at me. I know countless females. Countless. Sometimes they don't want to go there. There's a lady who was doing substance and she said, "Oh, I want to come out and be talking about substance like you. Let me be telling everybody." I said, "Sister, if you don't heal and you come out, they will poke a hole in that your wound and you will relapse because you have not healed what brought you to the place of the addiction." And she said, "No, I've healed. I said, "Slow down." She said, I heard her telling someone that she doesn't want me to be like her. I said, "There's nothing I'm doing with this thing because in all honesty, it takes a lot to actually come out and talk about things like this. You have family. You have family. I have a husband. I have a son. I have siblings. So there are people who are going to be looking and saying, so this is what is on 700 Club. My sister knew what was wrong with me. They had no idea. So these conversations need to be held. I keep saying it. That's why I was happy to come on this. And when you said it was about women, I'm like, let's go. We need to start having those conversations so that the right people will actually start picking it up.
So can I just quickly put in about other ways we can do this? First of all, Dr. Hope also mentioned the mother aspect. If a mother is going into rehab, that requires her to be separated from her child.
Yeah.
And that's something that perhaps is not considered for men because, but for women, it's an issue. But someone might wonder, should a child be with a woman?
I have taken somebody in with a baby.
With a child. You already have that framework.
I didn't have it, but I didn't know how to separate her from a 5-week-old. So I said, regardless.
She had a 5-week-old.
Yes.
She had substance.
In fact, she had injected the 5-week-old because the child was making so much noise that she was saying, just keep quiet. And she had shut up with the baby. I took the child.
Yeah, I think that we need to begin to work on rehab care models.
Yes.
That can admit people
with children.
So which is one of the things I said policy can begin to speak.
That's the next phase of my facility. Facility will have
maybe a crèche or something.
Where there will be caregivers taking care of the children once their mothers are there and able to nurse them regardless. Take care of them.
Exactly. Because the challenge is you have a woman with a breastfeeding, who is breastfeeding, right? And the process of rehabilitation is tough. I've had patients who attempted suicide multiple times. I've had patients who took detergent. They just want to end it. It's not easy. The noise is much in a lot. Now, and this person can also suffer depression, right? And then harm the baby. This person can become anxious and harm the baby. So, you can, some patients themselves will tell you that it's a spiritual problem. Doctor, my problem no be this thing. They don't want make I succeed. Now, a patient came and said, after going upstairs, he said, I saw one patient there. He's Lucifer, a devil that has been troubling the whole world. I have been fighting that devil. Thank God I have met him.
Oh, goodness.
I had to quickly separate him, before he killed the devil, he's sick. Right? Now, so that mother can wake up and say, this child is the devil, which is the challenge, right? Yes.
On the flip side, on the flip side, right?
Yeah.
When a mother is even breastfeeding as she's using, the child is
the
child is using.
The reason is
and the child had a withdrawal too. The child had a withdrawal.
That baby was having a withdrawal
before you even talk of breastfeeding, some of these drugs being abused cross the placenta.
Yes.
So the baby.
Pregnancy, yes.
So you have a newborn baby and it's having withdrawal. So if the obstetrician is not experienced or does not have the history that this woman uses substances and the kind of substance she uses, you have a new baby and you have a big problem. You want to know that this child is suffering a withdrawal. The baby, 1 day, 2, exactly. So, and you don't have that history that the woman uses substance.
I think the reason there's a gap is
so there's a
same purity culture about how women should be perfect. People don't even envision that we need to create a space where a nursing mother or a pregnant mother could even, because first of all, a woman should be perfect. Now she's pregnant. There's no way.
So that's that vision, and we are giving people that vision now through the Beyond Addiction podcast.
Indeed.
That for a mother to use substance, first of all, don't stigmatize her.
Yeah.
That's all.
There's a lot she's dealing
with.
The same way a man, a husband, a father will say, my head full, give me space. That woman too has the right for her head to be full and need a space. And she may not be coping with the right skill. Right? And so for like one of the videos I talked about, I have met pregnant women in bushes with other men taking substances. What she told me, said, hey, doc, yes, because of this belewa I carry, I don't reduce what they take. She injects herself. She told me that a doctor have told her that if you continue substance, you born a baby with small head. That means a doctor have educated her. But she said, so because of the education, I have reduced what I am taking so that I will have at least a close to normal baby. Right? Now, it's not easy. It's not easy. So you need to understand that the fact that a woman is pregnant does not mean that she can stop taking the substance. Because the pregnancy comes with increasing level of progesterone also. Right? That will make her to be anxious. That can make her to be depressed and have low moods. And then you now have an unsupportive husband a husband who is, although supportive, but not around because of work. It's a lot that women deal with. We need to begin to, first of all, embrace the struggles of women.
Yes. I think we're doing...
Then they can feel heard.
So we went to one bunk to do an outreach 2 years ago. And the girl got there. They call them bunk husband. So she got a bunk husband. And then she now got pregnant inside it. So she and her husband are there. They are using in the bunk.
They now born
a bunk baby.
Oh my God.
So now the bunk baby, the baby cried throughout while I was there. That child was breastfed, was pacified. At some point, I carried the child.
My God.
And I was trying so hard to make sure that child, and then I hadn't even had a baby. So my compassion was deeper. I carried that child, everything. The child didn't stop crying. Then it occurred to me that it was
a withdrawal.
I knew that I wasn't doing
it. We're talking about beyond addiction, and some persons are born to begin addiction. It's very sad because
true.
I don't know, before we move on quickly, is there hopeful? Because we're talking all the time we're talking about beyond. The reason I'm asking is that we've been talking about adults, young adults,
like looking at the neonates, suffering withdrawal.
So they don't even know.
They have been using from the stomach, from the belly. From day one they were conceived.
But can they have normal lives?
They can have normal lives. It's not. There is hope.
Okay.
And their hope is starting with this conversation.
All right.
That we are having that can begin to inform relevant government or the agencies and, of course, parents, individuals who are all critical stakeholders on this matter.
All right. It's been very interesting so far and enlightening. So let's end on a note of suggestions and also to speak to whoever may be going through problems now. But very quickly, I think just speak to the issue of how people feel women can take more, how women can take more, that men might not understand. There's this pain simulator, I don't know if you've seen it, that they put on men around their waist so they can simulate what happens during period pains. And if you've seen any of those videos, the men usually start all,
macho.
Come on, what's there? Is it people are just making it fun? And then they crumble to the ground. And I think, like we said, some of that resistance is what builds, and maybe we now think that what women are handling might not be all that. They are still functioning with us. They are still CEOs. They are still, running businesses. So maybe it's not that big a deal. Yeah. It's the same thing. I don't know if this counts, but when it comes to pots or something in the kitchen, when us men try to touch it, and my mom will carry pots to a pot.
The food chairs.
Yes, no movement. But talking about innovation now, some researchers are saying that we should look outside traditional clinics. They've suggested, for example, organizing and training local health salons, henna designers, and neighborhood markets to pass along life recovery resources without judgment. How do you think this could work in terms of accommodating women in this space?
Absolutely. I think it will make sense because, it's a no judgment zone. So you're able to let them know that, these things are there and they're not alone. The most important thing for most women is knowing that they are not alone. There's something called common humanity. That is, another person is going through what you're going through. It gives us a sense of relief that, okay, there is someone else, right? So if that actually is doable, then it will make a lot of sense.
Indeed.
It will make a lot of sense because the women will now know that there is a safe space where they can, bear their minds. That's why it almost looks like they're having women. There are no Ministry of Men Affairs, right? There are different things that we do for women. It's because we know that women actually do a lot. A woman thinks that multitasking is a gift.
Yes.
And I don't know who did this to us, that you multitask. Everybody's ill. You are ill, but you're the one that will still get up and cook for everybody. Then you're cooking, you're bathing everybody. You're still feeding everybody. When they've now gone, before you say you want to lie down a bit, it's almost time for school runs. So women need to be educated that they matter too.
All right. So if a woman is out there watching right now, like you said, they're underreported cases, they want to hide it, they don't want people to know, the stigma is there. What could you say to them now to help them?
See, help is real. Recovery is very possible, and we will come back. Let me see, we will cover your shame. Just come. Just come. We will cover you. There is no, so there was a girl that was brought, and when they brought her, they were going to start doing cameras, like how when I was coming in here, BTS, and I said, please, put off your phone. What's that? Not everything is for TV. We live for validation too much with cameras that it's almost, those are the things. We're looking for likes and approvals, all of that, when there is a life that is hanging on the decisions that you're going to make. Too much pressure. So I would say that we would help you. I've been there. There are people who have been there. Recovery is possible. Very possible. And we will cover your shame. We will cover you. My shame is out there. You can't shame the shameless. But yeah, you don't have to come out. Your life can actually just take a turn in form.
It's not over.
Until you say that it's over. They say there's something called self-efficacy. When you say you can, you're correct. When you say you can't, you're correct. But I wish that you say you can.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been so amazing having you here. Well, that's how we round up this segment or this edition of Beyond Addiction. I've learned quite a lot today. And I think I'll take a special care with how I handle anything related to women, especially with that description of the phase we spoke about. So we'll see you again next time. Don't go anywhere. And when we do, I do hope you've shared, liked, subscribed, and you're prepared to do more. Again, bye for now.